Let me switch focus though. Amitabh Chaudhry from Assocham joining us live at this hour. Amitabh, great having you here. This is Harsh. Let me first start off, Amitabh, by trying to get your sense on what you made of the budget, because it's a bit of a mixed bag of sorts, if I can call it that. But your take right off the bat.
Well, I think the expectations from the budget to start with were low. Already some of the big reforms had been executed by the government, and to expect another set of reforms or big bang announcements would have been a bit unfair. So in that sense, the fact that they have maintained fiscal prudence, the fact that they've continued in the direction of ensuring that there is stability in policies is a very, very important statement, I think, in the budget. Obviously, they have given clear signals on which are some of the thrust areas government has in mind. We were just discussing with one of the CEOs about what they're doing in the pharma side. We also have similar announcements which have been done across various sectors, including semiconductor, container manufacturing. They've championed MSME schemes, dedicated freight corridors, railway corridors, focus on infra in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. They've talked about boost to corporate bonds and also about how they can help the municipalities to issue bonds and so on and so forth. So the whole focus seems to be kept Atmanirbharta as the lodestar of the budget and a lot of the announcements which have happened. We obviously need to read the maths. The market is spooked a little bit because of the higher borrowings. Market is spooked because they have increased the STT rates. There were people who were expecting some concessions for the foreign investors in terms of capital gains taxes. That has not come through. So market is obviously reacting to the headline announcements. I think when they go through the details, we'll realize that we need to get back to business. There are a lot of positives also in the budget. While people are seeing the negatives, hopefully they'll start seeing some of the positives and the market will settle. So as you rightly said, it looks like a mixed bag right now, but end of the day, we expected no big announcements in the budget to start with. So it is exactly what we expected it to be.
Right. But Amitabh, the budget has proposed a high-level committee on banking as well to try and align the sector with India's next growth phase. As a leader who's always advocated, and correct me if I'm wrong here, for the creation of 10 mega banks in India, tell me what specific regulatory risks or fiscal unlocks do we need at this juncture to try and get to that aim?
Well, the government has talked about setting up a committee, so let's see the composition of the committee and ultimately what the scope of that committee would be. So it will be very unfair to kind of react to it straight away. But the fact that government believes that something of this nature is required is itself a positive step. And they have talked about financial inclusion and customer protection also as one of the two pillars of that committee, apart from obviously future of banking. My view is that the nature of banking industry is changing. Apart from all the technology coming in, the kind of deposits which the banks are getting, where are the deposits coming from? All that has undergone a kind of a meaningful change over the last couple of years. And it will be important for government and RBI to step back and look at what are the new generational reforms and the changes that can be brought in. This could also have some stuff around, FDI. Can we invite, global banks to come in? But yes, if India wants to be and will be one of the largest economies in the world, India does need very, very large banks. And so whatever that can be done to kind of push that agenda is always will be welcome. And that's what the government has done in this budget.
Amitabh, how do you see some of the policy measures with respect to, financial services? Because, she's been talking about restructuring of two major public sector NBFCs, which is PFC and REC. Do you see the government going ahead and doing further restructuring for public sector banks as well?
I think government has talked about it. It's not that she had to make a specific announcement in the budget. The government has hinted that they would like the banks to become bigger so that they can be more meaningful in the marketplace. And I think that process will continue. They do not need a reinforcement or reiteration in this budget itself. They've also talked about restructuring some of the government NBFCs. They want to create larger NBFCs. Again, it's exactly along the lines of what the government has talked of as far as the banks are concerned, because they believe the bigger institutions can not only take the right kind of risk because they have a much larger size, but they can play a much bigger role because the requirements for the economy are much bigger now, and small NBFCs or small entities cannot play that role anymore. So you do need people or institutions with much larger balance sheets to be able to have that impact and difference which is needed for an economy of our size and the projections we have and the aspirations we have for this economy. So it is a step in the right direction. I think government is, the finance minister has used the budget as a clear signal to that what the government intends to do. And as I said, it's a continued thrust in the right direction to continue to grow the size of institutions so that they can have a bigger impact in terms of what the market exactly needs. Let's also, use this opportunity to say that the fiscal assumptions, like some of the previous years, look reasonable and credible. And by the way, there is some flexibility available in terms of what comes in the form of RBI dividend. So I would say that the government has stuck to those certain basic rules of what they're doing in each of these budgets. So the credibility improves directionally. It is giving a clear signal. Obviously, there are some statements have been made about consolidation of the sector, clear signals about how they want to push certain markets. And at the same time, they've also given clear signals in some of the areas where they want to extract a little bit more of tax and revenue.
6% growth.
But Amitabh, I know we've got you to talk about the budget, but I'm going to take the liberty and definitely ask you. We've got a very somber equity market reaction to the budget. Perhaps Axis Bank can lift spirits. How soon do we get to the 1.8% ROA mark for Axis?
Oh God, this is not the right forum to talk about it, but I mean, that's an aspiration we have. It's not that we give up that aspiration because, one quarter went well or one quarter did not go well. As a management team, as an institution, our aim is to get to 1.8 ROA, and that aspiration does not change. Obviously, the macroeconomic situation changes, the geopolitical situation changes, but we have to keep executing on our aspiration. And I'm very confident that as we keep plugging away, we will get there over a period of time. I don't want to start projecting which quarter, which year we'll get there.
So next fiscal?
We will keep trying. Thank you.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. We'll let you go. Thanks as always for joining in. Thanks for your time. Just going to revisit